So the Telepathy Tapes, it's a podcast series made by Ky Dickens, who is a filmmaker, launched in 2024. There's 10 episodes up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much
everywhere you get, yeah.
And YouTube also, and there is some accompanying things with it.
There's a documentary in the making, a video in the making.
And she basically got interested in this work, kind of piggybacking or following on the work of psychiatrist Diane Hennessy Powell. And the work, basically, you can take it from there.
Yeah, so the whole premise of the show, again, just to kind of reiterate what we said earlier, is that there is a subset of culture. There's a group of people who, for a very long time, have been thought to have been, not in there mentally. And this group is nonverbal, usually classified as having severe autism. Some of them have some verbal skills. Majority of them are nonverbal. Some of them,
the doctors tell the parents like, "Hey,
they're a vegetable. They're not in there. They're just a shell. There's nothing there.
Like you're just babysitting this body until they die," which is fucking horrible to hear.
And so she starts to explore the works of this Diane Hennessy Powell. She reads some things. She also Rupert, is it Sheldrake? Is that right? Rupert Sheldrake?
Sounds right.
So she starts to study this topic of these nonverbal people, and there starts to be these claims that she come across from, I think the first one was a parent of somebody saying, "Hey, I think my kid's in there. I think they can communicate," that type of deal. And so she starts to explore this concept of maybe there's so much to get into, but maybe there's more to these situations, and maybe this group of people is more capable than what's being led on to. And so she starts to meet with the families of some of these subjects and some of the people involved in this. And she starts to chronicle and catalog and detail everything that she goes through. And it is fucking mind-blowing.
Well, there's
pretty wild,
there's
bro.
parents,
fucking mind-blowing.
There's basically parents that say like, "I don't know how to quantify this, but he can read my thoughts. Like, I don't know how to prove it. I don't know how to even describe it, but he can read my thoughts. He can read my mind." And then, so Diane Hennessy Powell was somebody that did a bunch of tests on these kids to see like, hey, what is there any validity to this? And she's received a ton of criticism. I think she even lost her medical license in Oregon.
Yeah. And initially she ended up getting it back, but yes.
Yeah. Cause they're like, "Hey, this is fucking witchcraft. I don't know what the fuck you think you're doing, but you're not a doctor. All right. We're taking the medical license." But you go through all these tests in the show, and like, I don't know how you could say that it's not real. Unless everybody involved across the country, and at this point, people across the world, unless they're all lying, not just the parents, but the children who are not in there are also in on the lie.
Yeah.
You can't deny it, but there is so many scientists out there that say like, "Nope, this isn't real. You can't prove it because of this scientist or this type of test, that type of test."
So in the world of science, they have something called materialism, and materialism is how they gauge the scientific realm. Like, so it has to be something that's tangible and something that you can quantifiably measure to have a result that you can test back and forth. And so they were saying the whole big hang up with this whole thing and science being based in materialism is you can't measure telepathy. You can't measure any type of mental or, psychic ability or anything like that. So you can't quantify it. And since you can't visibly or actually measure it now, then it can't exist.
Which is just insane to me, because when you do go through these tests, like I was just sitting there mind blown, like, holy shit.
And anybody who's interested even remotely in this is an easy listen. Like
it really is.
You can blow through 10 episodes in a week. They're all about an hour long, maybe a little bit longer. But
they're all short. I think they're all short, and they're probably like 35 to 55 minutes. All.
Dude, and they get better.
They get better, and
each
they hook
episode
you.
is
very well done.
So
it's
very well produced. Yeah.
There's even like, I can't remember. I was listening to one guy talking about Project Stargate, which CIA's Project Stargate is, where they would get these people and practice remote viewing, and they were talking about statistically significant things. Like, hey, it's like if it's like 30-something% that they're guessing right, that's statistically significant. These kids, a lot of them are 100% right.
So, dude, and none of them talk to each other. That's the craziest part, is all these kids are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
They've never met each other. They've
we'll
never
get to.
interacted with each other. Yeah, I don't want to step on your toes, but it's fucking crazy.
So the way this starts is these nonverbal subjects, basically, all with varying degrees of what they call autism. Majority of them are nonverbal, but they start teaching them how to spell. And so there's something called the ASLA, which is the American Speech Language Association. and they invalidate this process and they have for a very long time, because in order for some of these people to spell, so these autistic people who are nonverbal, who are often confined to wheelchairs in some cases, they don't understand they have a body. There's a disconnect. And so they can't move their body because they don't have that mind-body connection. So what they need is they need somebody to oftentimes apply a gentle pressure or support a limb or help hold their hand. And then they're capable of spelling with a spell board or a typewriter or some sort of touchscreen. And so what they've done is they've taken some of these subjects, some of these, very early on. And again, this is a small subset population, but where they're doing these experiments, but they're actually supporting their hand, and then they let them spell, and then they slowly move to their wrist, and then they slowly move to the elbow, and then all of a sudden they're just putting pressure on the back of the arm or just touching their back to kind of bring the awareness of where their body is.
And they think that these people are guiding.
And so the scientific community wants to invalidate these tests because they're saying, well, you're guiding their hand to spell what it is. But when you listen to these experiments take place and how they go about starting this, and so this is how this whole thing started, is working with these nonverbal people who are not in there, and they start giving them this way to communicate, and all of a sudden they're spelling, and these parents, like, it's just crazy to hear like the elation and the joy of like, oh my God, my kid is in there. Well, I guess
you have to figure, like, the kids will say that they are complete, like when they're able to start spelling now and things like that and communicating with their parents, they will say that I don't know my hand is there.
Right.
So when you're like, hey, why can't they type themselves? Like they have no connection to their hand, their body.
Until there's a sensory there, or somebody touches it, and then they can
like,
go,
hey,
oh,
this
okay.
I move, like, oh wow, that's my finger.
Yeah.
Like, which is a crazy thought. Like they're completely disconnected from their body. So when they would start to help them type, that was just the initial thing. But now they type on their own.
Yeah.
And they're still getting all of these questions right. So nobody is sitting there guiding them. Maybe there's one or two people out there that are trying to trick the system and just, because that Munchausen thing, like, hey,
Sure.
I want attention
Absolutely.
to my child.
Absolutely. There's always going to be charlatans. And that's one of the things they talk about is very early on with some of these trials. I want to say it was back in the 80s that they had started trying to do some of these things with these nonverbal communities. And there were people who, one, they say weren't skilled at teaching spellers or how to go about spelling. And there was also a lot of misinterpretation because they weren't.
Well, you have to teach them how to spell.
Educated.
Too. These kids will be like 12 years old and don't know how to spell.
Well, there was a case where somebody misinterpreted what the speller was saying, and they thought that there was some sexual abuse going on, and that pretty much discredited like the entire spelling community. And that was like in the 80s, 90s.
Shut it down.
Yeah, so they ended up completely closing that down. But what they found through these experiments is as they started teaching these kids to spell, not necessarily all kids, but people to spell, as they were starting to be able to communicate, they were starting to be able to tell their parents that they had known for a while certain things. And these parents oftentimes would say, like, I feel like they can read my thoughts, or I feel like they're sending me thoughts and things will pop into my head, but there's no way that can happen, right? Like, that's not real. Well, as they start being able to spell and communicate with these spell boards and with the assistance of these spellers, these parents are finding out that they're finishing their thoughts before they have them. They're answering on these spell boards as the parents are having thoughts. And so these experiments evolve into, Ky Dickens shows up. They tell him what they're doing. This lady reaches out to her saying, hey, I think my kid can read my thoughts. We'll show you. She puts the nonverbal autistic person in the other room with a spell board and puts the mom in one room. And now they're showing the mom pictures, and the nonverbal person in the other room is fucking spelling on the spell board what the mom is looking at. They do.
Right. It's almost like they're using the parents' eyes as a conduit.
Yes.
It's like, I can see through your eyes, which is fucking
and it's so undeniable.
No, and when you hear these experiments, be a skeptic. Be a skeptic.
Please do. I was.
And one of the things I love about what Ky Dickens says, who's the host of the show, says is being a skeptic means you have an open mind. Being a skeptic doesn't mean you just say no 100% all the way, but being a skeptic means that, okay, you can say no, but you're open too. Like don't believe it until you see it. Like be objective about it. But the experiments that they do range from single, double, triple, 5-digit random numbers on a random number generator, multiple different random number generators. So there's no cheating. They're showing somebody in one room. This person over here is in a completely different room with one person and a camera crew, and they're spelling it out and they're shouting back and forth to what the answer is. Then they go to pictures and they go to images.
Randomized pictures that don't even make sense.
Wild, dude.
The randomized picture. Remember the one there was like, it was like splattered like ink or something like that. And the kid's like, it was like, looks like paint or something.
A food fight. It was a food fight in the cafeteria.
Yeah. And like, holy shit.
And the kid says it looks like paint. And it was because food was splattered everywhere.
Like, yeah, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. Like we couldn't possibly do it justice. You really need to listen to it.
Yeah.
But I was just really blown away about like, is that ability is it in everybody? But
According
because
to the kids, that's
like
what they were saying.
yeah, and the kids
Yeah.
say this, which is
the
crazy.
kids are saying like we all possess this.
So
You just have to do it.
as the telepathy tapes goes on and as the episodes go on, they start to interview different parents, different kids. You know, people here in the community. There's poster or signboards on social media accounts, and there's all these different chat rooms where people go, and they sort of the buzz of this documentary type podcast starts getting out there, and parents start reaching out to Ky, and scientists start reaching out to Ky, and a lot of them, the academics, they all want to remain anonymous because they all say it's career suicide, even though they believe and they have experiences where the telepathy is real. They don't want to be involved because they'll take their accreditation, they'll fucking take their certifications, their licenses, whatever it is. So they all are anonymous, but they all say that. I mean, the documentation's been around for years and years and years, and they all agree that it's possible. And one of the crazy things is we'll kind of get to it. I want to get into it. Is the first time that Ky Dickens hears about the Hill, and the Hill, the first time she hears about it is like episode maybe 3, and one of the mom starts telling her like, yes, so and so. I don't think it was Houston at this time, but so and so.
Houston was the first one I think.
Talks about going to this place where they learn or where they communicate or where they teach or all these things, and he calls it the Hill. Well, so she makes note of this, and she starts talking to her mom, figuring out what about the Hill is. She starts talking to the subject about the Hill, and then she never mentions the Hill again. And she ends up going to her next subject, who I think the first one, I want to say they weren't the ones in Arizona, but they go across the country. They go to New York.
It's in Georgia.
Yeah. And so they end up going to New York for another interview. And so they're doing it there. And that mom brings up the subject of, and so talks about he goes to the Hill.
Well, no, they go in the room. They're like, the kid had his
pillows on his head.
Like, what is he doing?
Trying to drown out the noise.
He's just going to the Hill. Dude, I would have shit myself. He's going to what?
So the host says, she's like, I was so absolutely floored. She said chills ran up her spine because she did not mention anything about the Hill. And here's this other parent across, halfway across the country saying, my kid talks about this place called the Hill. They're nonverbal. They're spellers. And they say they go to this place to communicate with people that are like them. Well, then there's another person who's in England, and she goes and talks to this teacher who has a special connection with these students, who she thinks she can telepathically, she's developed this ability to where she can send thoughts to her students and they can understand her. And she talks about the fucking Hill, and no one's talking about it. They call it the Hill, where they all go to meet and converge. And it's this subconscious realm that they're all connected to. They share information. They know each other. They have friends by different names, and they know, I mean, dude, it's
mind-boggling, and
wild, dude.
And they learn languages there. They come back knowing languages they've never been taught.
Yep.
Oh, I learned
like
it on
one
the
kid
Hill.
teaches a class about bees, like communicating
what
with
the fuck?
bees. Like, huh?
And they say we can all do it. It's just in episode 10, I was telling you on the drive over here, like we've just forgotten.
Yeah.
Is the
Well, the one kid,
Whoa,
it's in
what?
episode 10. The one kid comes back. The one kid says, and again, they are now communicating. They're able to communicate now through these spell boards, some iPads, things like that. And he says, basically, I'm sent here to help everybody figure out how to do this.
that one about the boy who died.
Yeah. So one of the subjects,
wild,
dude, I found myself, and it's funny because like I don't consider myself super emotional person, but
Dude, I cried like twice. Listen,
there were 2 or 3 episodes where like I got teary eyed, and it was like it's just so the message behind it and the story, and like when you hear these experiments and you hear like especially the parents recounting their things, like there's some pretty powerful and moving stuff. And they're like, I got teary eyed quite a few times.
Well,
I was like, holy shit.
I think it was
man.
Houston that like the very first time, like this mom was at her wits end, like I think I'm getting this right, but like the kid was so out there, like she was like losing her mind, working job. This kid's all over the place, shit on the walls sometimes, like literal shit.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know what she's going to do with this kid. And then at one point she was done, tapped out, and she laid down on the couch. And then the kid, who never, ever fucking stops moving, just sat down with her, like put his hand on her. And then later when they figured out he communicate, the first thing he said to her was, I'm in here.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm in here.
And my heart broke for all the parents who are discovering after like 12, 15 years of thinking that their kid is what we hear it all the time at work, right? Like, oh, he's got the mental capacity of a second grader. And all of a sudden they're discovering that not only are they smart, but they're like intelligent and informed. and they know shit about
more
shit.
than everybody else.
And the part that blew my mind away was the dream one,
Yeah.
where the boy was communicating with the mom in the dream.
She would wake up and go, "Did I have this right?" And he would just
And
like
he'd
spell
come over
yes
to her,
or
and he showed her a playing card in the
of
dream.
what she wanted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in real life,
That's
and the
a
next morning he
trip,
came
dude.
down and he put the playing card in front of her. I would have freaked my fucking
So and one of the big
out,
things
dude.
about it too is like, so the hope for Ky Dickens, and she talks about this at the end of episode 10, but like, oh, I'm sorry, she talks about this on Rogan. So anybody's interested, she's
Great
on Rogan.
episode.
Ky Dickens, it was
Awesome
in February. But he asked her like, so what's the goal? And she says the hope is that obviously they can open up these training centers, but you know, one of the things is that for so long people have just assumed that these people they aren't in there, they aren't smart enough to comprehend, they don't know, and everybody's just kind of written them off. And so these special ed classrooms where they go to, you know, they're with second graders and they're being taught like they don't understand anything because they can't interact, when majority, if not all of them, are far smarter than anybody we know.
Yeah, certainly more than they were given credit for.
Right.
As a parent, you're like, when you figure out the kid can read your mind, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. All the
Absolutely.
there is a downside to it, right?
Absolutely.
So, and one of the things I thought was interesting with kind of that regard is there was the English teacher, I can't remember her name, from England, the lady, and she had said that one of her kids was younger and kept intruding in her thoughts, and she had to mentally tell him like, hey, this is not okay. Like,
Yeah, it's too
almost
much.
like teach them social cues, like this is not okay, like you need to be invited in.
Yes.
You know, or I need to allow you in, or you need to ask, you know, that type of thing. And she had to set boundaries because people would just kind of hop in her head all the time, which is crazy to think. How many people could just think every one of your thoughts? And what I found myself doing is even just listening to these 10 episodes is like, I found myself being a lot more aware of my thoughts throughout the fucking day, dude.
I'm not aware of my thoughts around just normies, but I've been on a couple calls where I'm like,
Yes, I have too.
Me and Steve been talking like
I have too.
Me and Steve been talking because as we've been listening to this,
Yeah.
we're like, all right, well, if you happen to get someone on a call, maybe fire a couple mind bullets real quick. And
Fuck
see.
yeah.
You have that story.
I did.
Are you comfortable?
100%.
sharing that
I don't know if it's
story?
real or not, or if I wanted it to be real.
John
can you
yet.
turn that
No, I
fan up
didn't.
on a notch?
Yeah, I can't.
So I had a call. I was probably 4 or 5 episodes in, and I had a call. It was a 16-year-old boy. And I don't know that he met I don't know what the criteria is, right? He had autism and he wasn't super verbal.
Maybe on like low too, Adam.
Our boy Jason says he has goosebumps right now.
Dude, Jason, check this shit out and get back to us. It's
unreal.
Fucking badass. So anyway, so this kid was 16 years old. He had spina bifida and he was having surgery and they nicked a nerve or something. And he was a quad. He became a quad at 16. So
What was he having spinal surgery for?
Spina bifida. They were doing something to correct something.
in his back.
And so he was nonverbal, and he was verbal, but he was severe autism. And so the whole time we're on this call, like I was charting, and the other guy was talking, but I was trying to be like, "Hey, buddy, I'm an ally. I'm your friend. I'm here to help you." I was just thinking, like, I'm here to help you. Like, we believe you. Like, we'll take good care of you. And like, he wanted nothing to do with me, right? He just fucking the whole time. But there was a point at the very end, like when we were closing out, and I just thought, man, like, hey, man, I hope you're good. I hope hope you're okay. I feel like he looked at me and he smiled, and then he looked away, and I was like, fuck, did it work? I don't know. Could he read my shit?
Am I doing it right?
Yeah.
I would bet money that he was picking up something.
I told myself it worked though. Yeah.
And the other crazy part of the telepathy tapes is when they start talking about like, because for me, it was like the bigger picture of the implications here of what
we'll
that
get to
really means
yeah.
for
That's where we're going
people.
next.
Yeah.
Big Daddy.
Take me there.
Well, in case you like anybody's like skeptical of this, you absolutely should be. Keep in mind, that the CIA, the fucking CIA, has invested heavily in this type.
For how long? I don't know. About 20 years working on the same fucking thing.
Well,
that they declassified and know about.
Yeah,
Stargate.
They started this Stargate and Project Gateway, both like
This
two sides
says
of the same coin.
Project Stargate and remote viewing and all that for the CIA began a thing
89?
in 1972.
72. Okay.
So the U.S. government's been spending money on this for 50 years.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. And now, granted, Doge has gone in and found a lot of departments that don't need to be there, and they're just siphoning money. But
they totally wouldn't like continue doing it for X amount of years.
Right.
If, like,
it would just be an empty office,
there.
right? You wouldn't have all these participants by name that you can look up, all these people that were involved in it. And all it makes me do is like, it makes me think about all these fucking people that we thought were quacks that say they remote view on Sean Ryan, on Joe Rogan. All these dudes that are like, oh, I fucking went to Antarctica and saw this shit underneath the thing. Or there's the chick who said, I was looking at some government base and another light being kicked me out. And when I first heard that, I'm like, this lady's fucking crazy. You listen to the telepathy tapes and you're like, God damn, that might be real.
Well, a couple shows ago, we were talking about how they used remote viewing to locate the Ark of the Covenant, and there were light beings guarding it. It was somewhere in the Middle East. And so I'm just fucking saying, dude.
So going back to the telepathy tapes, just to digress a little bit as we ease into this next topic, one of the things they ask these nonverbal, they call them spellers. One of the things they ask the spellers about is, you know, how many people are on the hill? And at one point they're like, it's like, they knew the exact number was like 4,614. And like, they're all just chilling.
Yeah, they Rain Man.
And there's people that can, you know, in this subconscious spiritual hill realm, there's light beings that are in charge of protecting certain things and certain knowledge. And if there's a book in this light realm, you can put your hand on it and all the knowledge from that book comes into you. And there's people learning
Matrix shit.
Like you said, foreign languages, advanced, super advanced mathematics.
A lot of these kids, they speak multiple. What
fluently?
What was one
like
of the
old languages?
Hieroglyphs and shit.
They can read hieroglyphs.
Hieroglyphs, yes, that was it.
Arabic,
yes.
like old languages.
Not Arabic, Aramaic.
Aramaic.
You're
Yeah,
right.
shit that nobody speaks.
Shit they don't teach in school.
Yeah.
Shit that you didn't learn at home, but they're fluent.
And they can, and like,
That's the
with
hieroglyphs ones,
100%
like,
blows my
what the
fucking
legit
mind,
validity, they could break it all down in these experiments and explain exactly what it was, which is, I mean, these
And
are,
dude,
you're talking
another
about
thing
people
too, dude.
who are nonverbal, who people thought they were just a shell of a human with nothing inside that speak fucking Aramaic, dude.
I know, and they got it on video.
Yeah.
All of our experiments are all on video.
I kind of feel like I got shortchanged in life.
100%, we got fucked.
Like,
That's the price you pay for being able to walk, buddy.
these kids can walk.
And speak.
These kids can walk.
You're not smearing shit on the walls.
Not
Try harder.
yet.
Try harder.
I've been pretty drunk.
Try
a couple
harder.
times.
Yeah. But yeah, so one of the things, you know, one of the cool things, and so Adam and I have a lot of, we're not high, we're not smoking weed, but on the rides, we talk about some pretty crazy shit, some theological shit, philosophical shit. And some of the conversations we've had, or some of these questions that have come up in this that have made us kind of go a little bit further on the drives we have back and forth. But one of the things that they start getting into around episode 6, 7, 8 is God.
Yeah,
Capital G.
Yeah, God. And is there a God? And one of the Ky asks, or one of the parents asks one of the spellers, is there a God? And they say, yes, I talk with God all the time. Like, and so I think the question was, you know,
Didn't it say multiple gods?
is there, well, no, because what she said is
Someone
there
asked that.
multiple gods or is there one God? And the speller says there's one God, but there's multiple forms, but it's all one thing. So the general idea, the concept I took away from it is just one consciousness. And some people call it the God consciousness. Some people call it, you know, a higher level of enlightening or vibration or whatever. Or just not the type of consciousness. What am I thinking about? The word I'm trying to think of. Collective consciousness. Okay. So just the concepts that surround it, super just fucking next level theological. Like it's crazy, dude.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things that, like, if let's just say that everybody accepted, like, hey, this is a real thing now.
Yeah.
I immediately start thinking two things. Number one, government's going to get their hands on it.
100%.
And number two, I start thinking,
or already has their hands on it because they've been working on it for so long.
Dude, why do you think they got Elon in the? He's a little artistic. They got him in there, fucking reading minds.
he can speak though. He's not nonverbal.
Parent. Yeah, but like, do they need to be?
Chainsaw. Maybe he should be nonverbal.
But the other part of me that goes like, okay, this is almost like a new, like, type of human. I'm going to use this term, but it's not what I mean. A mutant.
Yeah.
Like X-Men shit.
Yeah.
So now you start
evolutionary
thinking
thing.
like one of the original X-Men movies was like all of the normies are fucking scared of the mutants. So they're trying to put them down.
Right.
So they're going to war with these mutants. Like, is it going to be like that? Like, hey, you're one of those fucking freaks that can read minds, aren't you? Lock them up. Terrorists, send them off to fucking El Salvador.
Until they get all sorts of
I
other
could-
superpowers and they fuck us up, dude.
I mean, I could see that happening, but one of the things they talk about is, and like Adam said, is they believe, you know, they were saying that every person has this capability.
Right.
That maybe this is something, and and even when Ky Dickens is on Rogan says this is probably something that we had way back when, and evolutionarily, we've always looked for an easier way to do things, and maybe it just became easier just to talk or make a sound instead of having to think or send thoughts. And little by little, that part of our brain is atrophied. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, how long have you heard we only use 10% of our brains?
Well, people say when they do certain psychedelic like psilocybin or DMT that they're able to tap into a collective conscious.
Yes.
They're not reading people's minds because they're fucking high, but they are able to say like, hey, there is a collective conscious out there. We are all connected in some way.
Yeah.
DMT, they say they see God, things like that. So, I mean, it's
when you think about like,
interesting.
And one of the things they talk about in the show is that in the telepathy tapes is that it's very hard to share thoughts or work with people or things that have negative energy associated with them. And so one of the things, like you said, John Paul in that one episode, he's laying on the bed and he's putting all kinds of,
that's his name.
He's putting all kinds of pillows on his head because he's trying to drown out the noise and the negative energy and everything from around so that he can quiet his mind and get to where he wants to go.
Get to the hill.
And it just makes me wonder like how much of the negative energy. I mean, look at how much negative shit we're inundated with on a daily basis.
All day, dude.
So we talked about, even just from a general purpose standpoint, of the photon slit experiment, right? And what happens. Yeah. So we had the conversation one time of, so in the slit experiment, they're not watching the photons.
This needs a visual.
There's a slit in paper. I know there's a slit in paper. They're firing photons at it, and you expect them to all go in a straight line, but they're all going scattered in a random pattern, right? Well, then once they're observed, because somebody's like, oh, I got to see this. When an observer's there, the photons hit directly in the slit the way they're supposed to. And so if we brought up the question is like, if you're watching something, does that alter the way it's behaving? And if that is,
yes, we know that.
So now take into consideration every Ring camera, every fucking surveillance camera, every phone taking pictures of you all the time, every device that can watch you, every social media,
my laptop out.
Everything.
Never mind.
Here's the double slit experiment. So, So this is just an example of showing how the photons are supposed to go through the slit.
You just leave it up and let it play.
Yeah. So it just makes you wonder, like, our normal behaviors, are they now completely skewed because we're constantly being viewed by everything?
Maybe.
Dude, and like
that concept is
even in people's cars. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I got a little magnet in my car, dude. So when I'm going somewhere, I put my phone, and now I got another.
And the iPhone takes a picture of you every 5 seconds.
Every 5 seconds, dude.
Yeah.
What?
Your iPhone takes a picture of you every 5 seconds.
Yeah, infrared picture every 5 seconds.
Infrared picture.
Oh, no.
Look it up.
Every 5 seconds.
It's real.
I'll see if I can find a video.
That's just real.
I saw one the other day.
I've done some bad things in front of that. Where's that being stored?
Don't worry, dude. It's safe on the cloud. Nothing can ever go wrong on the cloud.
No.
But yeah, so anyway, so just the concept of, something watching, everything being different. Just dude, Telepathy Tapes fucking blew my mind, dude.
Dude, not only did they blow my mind, I just wonder like what's gonna happen, like when that becomes like if this is real. I believe after listening to that, call me gullible, whatever, impressionable, but I believe that is real.
Yeah.
What happens when it becomes mainstream?
Well, I don't know. I mean, does everything get better? Because the whole thing that they talk about is that the collective consciousness, they're all together to learn. And, one of the things, the common theme through all of this is a lot of these spellers, a lot of the people that are involved in this, their message is love. It's about unity. It's about love. And one of the things that Ky Dickens says is that, there are charlatans out there. There are people that will try to exploit certain things for monetary gain.
Yeah.
But these people that, these spellers, their parents, they're not trying to sell anything. They're not asking for money. They're not out there trying to do these experiments or lie about these things.
One of them
for
does
profit.
have a book, but they wrote this book like well after the thing. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I do think that there's probably a part.
Actually, they reached out to I think it was
Sheldrake?
Houston's mom, messaged us on Instagram, or on TikTok.
Us?
Yeah, not message, but like commented on one of the things because we talked about this a little while ago.
No shit,
Yeah.
really?
I'd have to look it back up.
Dude,
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah,
we gotta reach out.
Jinx,
Dude.
Guess could be you.
All the fireside. We might have Houston on here.
Yeah.
I'll send out some good thoughts.
That'd be badass.
So, but yeah, just the idea of the whole collective consciousness. And one of the things they had said was, I think when Rogan was with Ky Dickens, and he had said, what about the government taking over? And some of the things they had talked about in some of the previous episodes, it was around 8 or 9, I think, is that there are these light wardens, these light beings that protect this area, and they don't let just anybody in. And this is their space. It's not our space. And I would imagine if, you know, the government's been doing this for 50 years, they've, you know.
Wait a minute. So the lights have a space, but the dark can't enter.
The beings, well.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, what I'm saying is.
Whoa, dude.
What I love oh, shit. I didn't even, all right. I didn't even get it.
You were too deep in thought.
I was. That was good. No, but that is that raises my other question is you listen to the telepathy tapes and they talk about God and they talk about these light beings and they talk about knowledge. They talk about all this shit, right? Well, fuck, dude, if that exists, there's got to be bad. If there's a light, there's got to be a dark. If there's good energy and positive shit, there's got to be a bad shit, right? And if anybody who believes in religion believes in God, if there's a God, there's a devil.
Jedi's on the dark side.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
There's a fucking Darth
art
Vader
imitating life,
right?
They got telekinesis and stuff with their pet.
Yeah, Darth Vader can do that shit.
Yeah.
Eventually, someone's going to choke you out for no good. I don't want.
Tap. All you're hearing in your head is tap, bitch. Tap.
Walking down the street. Like, I don't want people knowing what like. The mind is a sacred place.
Yeah.
Not for long, dog.
I don't want people knowing what I'm thinking as I walk through life.
God, that'd be horrible.
You better
Dude,
start
just-
training.
Dude, like,
Put up them.
I'm not gonna lie. Since we listened to this and we've been talking about it, like there'll be times where I'll think something. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta get that out of my head.
Well, just
or
like normal
I hope nobody
stuff.
knows. I just thought that
normal stuff that you just wouldn't think that anybody could intrude on you. Like if you just silently, you're quiet, and you're like, just farted. Oh god,
damn
that
it!
stinks. Fuck. What now?
If somebody's looking at you nonverbal,
Yeah.
I know
Like-
what you did.
Or you're sitting there, you're just sitting there talking to a girl like, this
he
bitch
gives you the Matumbo finger.
Yeah.
You're
You're sitting there talking to a girl like, you know, you're at the hospital, like fucking giving a report, like, man, this bitch has a mustache. What the fuck? It's just like
You get
little
slapped.
things like
Right.
that all the time. I
Yeah.
don't need people knowing
Well,
that.
We might
Or,
be there,
and
dude.
I don't want to know what they're thinking about me. Like, look
Yeah.
at this bald motherfucker.
motherfucker.
I don't
Dude,
want
look
that.
at this guy. He wears his fucking hat backwards.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, what up,
what a
dude?
fucking
What is it?
huge.
What is he,
Yeah.
20?
Yeah. I will say though, like the conversations we've all had, watching this, hearing this, talking about this stuff, like it has really, like, I don't know, man. It's made me think about, like I said before, about if humans only use 10% of your brain. Like there's so much of this that they talk about the concept of consciousness. And one thing is that scientists, this is real, that still don't know is, where does consciousness come from? Does it originate from within our brain? Or is our brain a receiver that picks up consciousness from somewhere else? And so the idea of this collective consciousness really begins to kind of gain ground and allow you to kind of think outside the box if you're objective enough and you're willing to look kind of at everything as a whole. And, you know, I know different theological views and you know, societal views, you know, can kind of sway how you feel. But just the possibilities of, if your brain is a receiver, and we have the ability to do this, and we're only using so much of our, you know, of our capacity. And these people that make these claims of being able to do this, like, is this something we can relearn to do and we can get back?
I want to learn it. To be clear, I want to learn how to read minds, but I don't want anyone reading mine. That's just how I want things.
So,
to be.
Johnny,
Yeah.
Here you go. Next.
just so you know, I went deep on ChatGPT asking about redacted and declassified Stargate files.
Oh boy,
I have the protocol.
to figure it out.
Fuck
yeah.
yeah, dude.
Fucking send it.
I'm not going to talk too deep about it here because I want us to all try it for 30 days.
Oh really?
Oh, I've got it.
Hold on. So we're gonna do a running.
We're going to do Operation Stargate,
Live on the fireside.
30 days, the three of us.
Stargate challenge.
Stargate challenge. The new
Stargate
challenge on
challenge.
TikTok, Stargate.
Okay.
So I got it all. I got to finish typing it up, but it's got frequencies and shit in it. It's got meditation stuff. It's got
Do I need a ham radio for this?
no.
Your
No.
brain is the ham radio.
Your brain is the radio.
But since we can't use our brain to our full capabilities, do
you
we
can
need
only
a
tune
larger,
in
like
to
tuning?
like you can only tune in to
No.
89.5 right now, right?
Right.
We're gonna help us tune in to more channels.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Do I need a tool to help me until I can do it on
No,
my
it's
own?
like going to the gym for your brain, dude.
It's like you start with air squats, dude.
Yeah, you don't need
And then you
weights.
start doing put a bar on your back. And then
I
little by
can't-
little you put weight on that.
I can't tell you how many times throughout my life after I've got done watching Star Wars that I've sat there like, I can do this shit.
Johnny, you might be able to.
Just give it
I
a run
tried
real
so
quick.
hard.
So let's
Hey, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be just a random like get the fuck out of here. But I've legitimately tried to do this a million. Like I'm sure.
Move
Everybody
shit with your
has,
mind.
dude.
Yeah, like
Everybody has.
specifically like the Force, like want
Fuck
the
yeah.
lightsaber. And I tell you, when I've done this, like I've concentrated hard, I started to feel a burning like in my palm.
Yeah.
Like, there's something there.
Dude, I'm telling you. So let's talk about this, right? If telepathy, being able to communicate with your mind, is real, I believe it's real. I don't think
I do too.
I don't think you have to listen to the telepathy tapes. I don't think that it's a hoax.
You should.
I don't think
you should.
I don't think these people are trying to scam people. I don't think they're making shit up. I think they're doing this stuff, right? If that's possible,
Yes.
telekinesis has to be possible. Moving things with your, like, what else is there that we can do in the realm of possibility that we have no idea about?
Well, and one of the things that they talked about was like, we normies experience this in small ways that, like, you guys ever like be sitting around and you're thinking about your buddy and your phone rings and it's your buddy calling you. You're like, dude, I was just thinking about calling you. Like, so some people are saying that those are little breadcrumbs.
Well, they even said that there was like, it was like 1892 or something like that. Mark Twain
manuscript.
Mark Twain had an idea for a manuscript, and he wrote his editor or publisher or somebody a letter with a book idea and postmarked it, stamped it that date, and sent it out. Well, he ended up receiving a letter from the guy he sent that letter to, postmarked, stamped, the same date, had the exact same idea for the book. Like, they had the same idea at the same time. So this, and again, this is, fuck, dude, this is getting so far on a different tangent. But I gotta talk about this too, is they talk about these people who go to the Hill and they've downloaded this information, they get these ideas, right? Or these artists in history, there's so many artists that have said, like, the idea came to me in a vision, the idea came to me in a dream.
Yeah.
What if all these motherfuckers doing art that's not their art?
Oh.
That's how some people have it and some people don't.
Everything painted, all these great things all came from someplace else. Came from the Hill. A previous person.
They said there's people on the Hill who are major figures in
history. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, how many of these, these famous things are not necessarily, maybe didn't belong to the person. Maybe they're just the medium to conduct it, but the idea wasn't theirs.
You were saying the other, I thought it was really an interesting take. You were saying the other day how.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I started thinking, I had to look this up when you said, like, what we were talking about telekinesis, like, what else are we capable of? And have you ever seen the Scary Movie 2?
Yeah.
Well, I had to pull up my laptop. This is immediately what I started thinking of. Where she's getting fucked by the ghost. I'm like, oh man, what is possible?
Fucking ridiculous movie, dude.
That's just what came to my mind. I'm like, I got to find this clip somewhere. That's what we could be capable of.
I thought Steve had a really interesting take the other day. Fuck, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Talking about people being in the medium and the idea coming to them from somebody else. And so the artwork, these whatever it is, music, art, whatever, it's not necessarily their idea or their thought.
Oh, yeah. So this is a fun one, John. I think Steve, I think you said it the other day. I thought it was an interesting take. It's like,
I probably did.
How
feels interesting.
Because the question is, how does The Simpsons predict everything? Well, maybe the people who are writing it are getting something from somewhere else. And all of a sudden, that's how The Simpsons has like 30 fucking things throughout the years that have happened in real life.
Maybe the dude writing it's autistic.
Maybe
and his receiver is better than yours.
Maybe they're getting it from somewhere. Because you have to admit, The Simpsons thing, it's pretty fucking uncanny. Like,
I will also say that there are tons of Simpson things that aren't real.
Absolutely.
People started doing those fucking, they just make the, The Simpsons predicted them.
Right.
Like, no.
Well, they've also been on for 30 years.
Eventually,
18,
you'll probably get everything out of it, right?
Yeah.
But
longer than 30, I think like 40 years, damn near.
The specifics of some
35.
of the things that they've called out, like the for me, the one that sold me on it was when the Trump coming down the elevator and the dude in the background dropping a sign, and then it happened in real life. I was like, whoa. Hold on a second. Wait, that was fucking specific.
But I mean, it's easy to pass those off now as always wanting to see. And we talked about this on the way here about wanting to see patterns, right? It's human nature.
Yep.
Is it human nature because we want to see patterns, or are we seeing patterns because that's something that preceded and is now human nature? Like, which came first?
You're
trying to see patterns.
Doing a chicken and the egg thing.
Yeah. I mean, after listening to the telepathy tapes, how do you not at least ask that question both ways? You know what I mean?
For the record, I think that's too loud.
That was the soundboard.
Yeah,
I was trying something different.
Loud.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's too loud. Anyway, yeah, dude, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So we'll do the Stargate challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll come back in 30 days. Well, you're not even gonna be here in 30 days.
But I'm gonna still be able to do the challenge.
Okay. So in 30 days, we'll report if we're any closer to reading minds.
Yeah.
TBD.
TBD.
You got anything else on the whole thing?
I did have a little bit more.
Because I mean,
I'm trying to remember what it was.
This could go in a million different directions for hours.
So, yeah, we can kind of start tying up there. A little bit more about Project Stargate, just to kind of fill anybody in. We can always go into that at a later date. But I did come across, so talking about collective consciousness, right? One of the things I thought was really interesting was in one of the episodes, they talk about the expansion of the universe, and that the reason that we're here is to have these experiences so that this collective consciousness can grow. This might have been in the talk tracks, so that it can grow and expand. And that's how the universe keeps expanding. And that's why, is because we're having these experiences, and our collective consciousness then continues to expand. And so they talk about the universe is expanding at this insane rate that they can't, they assume it's finite. They don't know, but the speakers or the spellers talk about the expansion of the universe. And I came across this, it was a Instagram reel. I did some research on it. I couldn't find it to be proven true, but I thought this was interesting, talking about the expansion of the universe. So there's a guy who's sitting in a car and he says, scientists in Russia have figured out what happens when you die to your consciousness.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I didn't dig into it. I have a flag. Yeah.
So basically what he says is that, and he found this on the Russian version of Google, which is Yandex, Yandex.
I thought you were going to say Google.
Google. You find it on the Google.
But on Yandex, and he said he came across this article, and basically what it was is Russian scientists have invented something called, I want to say it was an SIK ID or something like that. And it was basically like a soul identity code. And they were able to imprint this code on like every atom of your being. And so that when you die, they can then trace where this code goes. Sounds super far-fetched, right?
Okay.
But after listening to the telepathy tapes, I don't know, man. I don't know what Russia's doing. So they said that they had these willing participants. Somebody died.
In Russia, willing participants? Come on.
All participants are willing.
They had participants.
You want to be here.
You want to be here.
And when they died, they were tracking this SIK code, the soul identity code, and the portion that remained in the body stayed there. And then there was a section that traveled, but it traveled so fast that they couldn't follow it at the time, and it took their computers time to catch up to it. I don't think I told you about this, did I?
No, you're blowing my fucking mind
so,
right now, dude.
As their computer refreshed and sped up and whatever, and it took time to catch up and track where it was, they tracked this code to a galaxy called the Jades GS Z140, which was discovered in 2024, which is over 1 billion light years away.
I have so many questions that I probably don't even have I don't know the right questions to ask here, but you're saying that people died and there's some part of them that they figured out how to track, and they figured out how to track
allegedly they put
a galaxy.
Now I'm going to go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. That sounds insane.
Far, far away.
Well, I'm going to say I couldn't find any data to support this, and this could be complete bullshit, but along this theory of what the spellers were saying about the universe expanding as our consciousness expands, and we're here to have these experiences to help expand our consciousness, I was like, man, that's fucking crazy. Like, what if that's the furthest out the consciousness is right now, and that's where it's...
Man, what's the name of the galaxy again?
Jades, JADES, -GS, -Z14-0.
One thing that's kind of a bummer, though.
Discovered in 2024.
If your soul blasts off that fast to that galaxy far, far away, that kind of eliminates ghost sex.
Well, and it makes us wonder, since we can't travel there, is that heaven?
Back.
Maybe.
You could come back for ghost sex.
I mean, maybe your consciousness goes there. Maybe that's the hill.
We haven't had one of those yet today.
Maybe that's the hill.
Maybe.
Just so many what ifs right now.
I know. Like, it's almost like...
We got to do the protocol, dude.
My mind almost shuts off when I get to a certain point thinking about this stuff, because I'm like, it's one of those things, like, you're just... All the mysteries of the universe type things, like my mind, I get to a point and then I shut down because I'm like, I'm never going to know.
Yeah.
I'm never going to fucking know until I'm dead.
Unless we figure out how to do it.
That's it. We got to figure out.
And then the students become the teachers.
This is where the dark side comes, because we didn't come.
No,
we didn't. No, I'm saying
I'm in this for good. You in it for bad?
For now.
Is this your origin story? Are you gonna be a bad guy?
This is how it all starts.
No, we always no.
Everybody starts off like, oh man, I just need to do this so I can do this, and then a thing, and they're like, oh, you know what? It's not. I really need $1,000. What if I just win the lottery?
But
like, I get the money. Like, Dude,
No.
If I was president, things would go better. Let me just swing this election.
Hold on. If you learn how to do this, and it's all about collective consciousness, then you realize that this is a temporary holding ground and that none of this matters.
But what if you're just eternally fucked in the brain because you weren't meant to have this?
Then you can't access the hill.
But I can access.
Dude, none of this matters, but a couple of new jet skis would be pretty fucking tight, though.
Well, he is right.
I mean?
That's
Jet
what I'm
skis would be
saying. All of a
pretty dope.
sudden,
Summer's right around the corner.
could
dude.
use-
things
a bigger
get weird
house.
once you have abilities that nobody else does. Like if I was Superman,
Okay, but hold on. Maybe the billionaires of the world already have those abilities, and that's why they're fucking billionaires.
Oh.
and that's why they're all huge pieces of shit.
Let's level the playing field. There needs to be a good person out there doing that shit.
I'm saying we become the bad person.
No, we become warriors for the good.
Vigilante, like Batman. He's kind of bad, but like
We can
mostly
look bad
good.
and wear
Okay, if I can be fucking like Professor X
Jason
slash
Bourne.
Batman.
Jason Bourne.
No, Batman.
Okay.
I'll take Jason Bourne. You
Okay.
think Jason Bourne could beat Batman? No,
No.
gadgets. No,
No.
gadgets. Batman cheats.
No
with
gadgets.
so-
that is the essence
what
of
is
Batman.
Batman without gadgets? He's just some
A
fucking
millionaire douchebag?
rich guy. He fucking
Billionaire?
sucks, dude.
Well, no, that's not true.
Oh shit.
That's not true.
Here we go.
I mean,
Batman
No.
fucking sucks. The movies are great.
I can't with this.
Who's
guy.
your Batman?
What do you mean? Like who's my
Who's your
Batman?
movie Batman?
what do you mean by that?
Are you a
Like,
Michael Keaton guy?
Oh,
Are you
no,
a
Val
Christian
Kilmer?
Bale?
No, the Christian Bale.
You're George Clooney guy?
dude.
Christian Bale.
Christian
Bale.
Bale's the best Batman because
I'm Batman.
yeah, and the other
I'm
guy's just
Batman.
who was the first guy you said?
Keaton.
Michael
He's a
Keaton.
fucking goofball, dude. You can't.
But that movie was
He's
meant
OG.
to
he can't turn his neck in the costumes. He's always
That-
Dude, that thing is fucking stiff as a board. You
I
can't turn
know.
your neck in.
That
It's not his
movie-
fault.
That
I'm not
movie was
making
meant to be
excuses for him.
like more comic
Campy.
bookish. It was a little
Kinda
campy.
campy,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Well,
Like for super badass, it was the Christopher Nolan ones.
100%.
Yeah, with goddamn Christian Bale. All right.
anyway,
So anyway, that's what I got. That's allegedly what happens when you die, according to Russian scientists.
Stand by for me to turn evil after we do this fucking protocol.
I'm gonna keep you from turning evil, dude. You gotta be on the good side.
Wait, no. I decided I can be Batman.
Okay.
If I'm Batman, then that's fine.
Yeah, I got. You want to do the rundown? That's all. As far as telepathy goes, there's so much more we can talk about. There's so much more we can dive in. That's kind of
Check it
scratching the
out.
surface. It's pretty amazing. Anybody who's interested, check it out. Let us know what you think. I would love to do some follow up. Let's see if
I
we can
feel
get
like
Houston.
you have to. I want
Let's see if we
everybody.
can get Houston or and his
That'd
mom
be
on
fucking
at least, even if
awesome,
it was
dude.
on.
even if
On
we zoomed
Zoom.
him in, that'd be incredible.
That'd be phenomenal, dude.
Well, yeah, they're not coming here.
I would love to spread awareness.
They don't need to come here. They
That's
just,
what I'm saying.
Listen
Oh.
and be kind. The message was love.
Yeah.
Stop
for real.
sowing division. We're all one. Collective consciousness. Anytime you're around a non-speaker, stop thinking fucked up shit.
Yeah, because they can fucking hear you, asshole.
Yeah, and they're a lot smarter than you.
Probably.
Well, smarter than our listeners. Like that's.
Yeah, well, all 12. Sorry.
All right, man. That's yeah. I
Good
encourage-
shit, man.
Listen to it for yourselves and come back and
So
tell us what you
excited.
think. Comment, like, subscribe,
Follow.
follow.
Smash that like button.
Hey, and if this works, we'll hand out the Stargate protocol. We'll do it.
Only if you follow the show.
Yeah, only to our followers.
Yeah.
We'll put it behind a paywall.
Paywall.
Fireside Insider Club. That's
Paywall.
right.
Incoming paywall.
Dude, and that'll be our course that we sell, and that's how we get rich. See, fucking knew it.
You guys heard it first.
It was gonna
You're welcome.
lead to getting rich.
You're welcome.
All right,
Is it time for the rundown?
let's run it down real quick. The rundown. How long have we been going here, Adam?
Hour
About an
All right.
hour.
hour since we got our audio back.
Yeah.
So I was a little light on. I mean, I shouldn't say light. I have a fuck ton of things flagged, but I didn't dive deep into a ton of things. So we are just going to do true rundown, speed fashion.
Hell yeah. Rapid fire.
There's a lot going on in the Middle East, man. A lot with the Don. So you mentioned, did he really like split ways with Israel?
Yeah.
So
A lot of rumors about that.
there's a lot of rumors, and so far they are just rumors. But what you said, like it all came out after Mike Waltz was caught having some sort of backdoor meeting with Netanyahu, right?
Yeah.
And then it all kind of seemed to fall apart from there. Like, so all of a sudden we went and had a deal with the Houthis, right?
Mhm.
So just here, Trump declares truce with the Houthis, like intensifying conflict risks Trump's nuclear negotiations with Iran. But what that means is, like, we went and got this truce with the Houthis. The only reason we were even attacking them, the only reason they were attacking us is because of Israel. Trump went around Israel and said, you know what, Houthis, let's cut this shit out. You don't bomb us, we won't bomb you. Like, we're going to stay out of it. Deal? Deal. They did that. Just this morning, I found out that he is cutting a deal, being Trump, is going around Israel's back and dealing with Hamas directly. So this whole time, the IDF has been saying, hey, this war is about getting the hostages. We're leveling Gaza completely. Give us the hostages back. Give us back. Give us the hostages back. I wish I would have fucking had this flagged. But an internal memo came out from the IDF that was leaked, and Haaretz did a report on it. It says they came out with their top objectives for the war. Do you want to know where getting the hostages ranked?
10th.
Number 6.
Hell yeah.
Number 6. Above that was like relocate the Palestinians, like remove all of Hamas, which I get some of it makes sense, but removing the hostage or getting the hostages back was number 6. And think about this. If you were a family that had your daughter, mother, son, whatever, taken, they were being held hostage, right? They don't know where they are. They're in Gaza somewhere. Meanwhile, the IDF is fucking leveling Gaza. As a family member, you're like, hey,
Can we
Do you know
move that to the top of the list?
do you know for sure that my daughter wasn't in that building? No, you don't know?
It's
you
6th
don't.
on the list, lady.
Yeah, it's number 6. Like, we'll get there.
Pump the
just
brakes.
park it for a bit there, sweetheart.
So Donald Trump went around Israel and said, you know what? Hey, man, give us our fucking hostage back. And now he got Hamas to release the last living American hostage. Now
Fuck yeah.
Like, hey, enough of this shit. Give us our guy back. Okay.
Q.
Yes. Like, that's all it took. Kind of like when Trump made, like, I talk a lot of shit about Trump, but I'll give him credit here. Like, when he talked about the border, he's like, hey, we didn't need new laws. Turns out you just needed a new president.
Fuck yeah.
And kind of like this, like, hey, we didn't need Israel to finish this war. Like, we just needed a president to be a president, go in and say, give me my guy back. That's all it took. Having said that, and I'll get into this next week or maybe during the week, but there's a lot of fucking shady dealings that Trump has going on in the Middle East right now. But maybe he's just like some, I don't know.
Part of the deal.
It seems
Part
like
of the deal.
It seems like the White House is open for business. And by that, I mean the Trump family is open for business and the White House is the conduit. But yeah, let's see what we got. So number 1, Netanyahu says that Gaza's population is to be moved, and they're moving them. They're gone. Like, you can no longer live here. It's time to go. The Gaza population of, I think, initially was a couple million people. You got to go. That's a wrap. So there's number 1. Number 2 here on the board. The Pentagon may have drawn on anonymous social media accounts in planning a deadly Yemen attack. You're the Pentagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to go to an account on X to get your fucking bombing packages? So, hey, if you have a bombing package you'd like to send to the Pentagon right now, they're listening. So what happens?
That's tempting.
I'm not following. What do you mean by this?
So do you see this site right here?
Yeah.
Somebody on X. So a U.S. airstrike.
With coordinates.
Yes. So a U.S. airstrike near Sanas on April 28th killed 8 civilians. And now there's evidence that the Pentagon may have used intel from an anonymous Twitter account to justify the hit. One account named Valeki Hond shared satellite images claiming that the site was a secret Houthi base. Turns
What if it
out,
was an AI bot?
Maybe.
Dude,
Fucking
On
maybe.
X?
someone's there with their phone. They're like, found the drop site. LOL.
Dude, did you see?
Good tweet. Good tweet.
Did you see that they had a deal here in Phoenix? Somebody made a social media comment on. I want to say it was like Cape Creek and Greenway or something. It was like,
Oh shit.
like
Don't say
smack
that.
dab.
Right in the square?
Yeah. Somebody made a comment saying that there was dead bodies in a trunk somewhere, and PD fucking stormed the place and raided it and made a post saying, "Hey, there's no dead bodies."
They got
here.
swatted, dude.
Yeah,
It's
they
going
doxed
on all
fucking
over the
PD,
place.
man. Yeah.
And that's one thing. But now when you're fucking doxing fucking civilian population of foreign governments, and why is the Pentagon like, you know what?
Seems credible.
Valeki Hond is right.
Seems credible.
Yeah.
So-
Big Dick 69 XL XL
Man,
says
that looks
we
like-
should bomb this spot,
Boom Boom
dude.
Man wants us to bomb over here.
So if you've got a target package in mind that you want to send to the Pentagon, just fucking tag Pentagon on X, and they might actually take care of it for you.
At them.
Yeah, just at Hexeth. Oh,
Hold
man.
on. That deserves a.
Dude, just fucking crazy, right? Like, why? You're the Pentagon. You can't get better information than open source intelligence on X.
Hey, apparently.
That's
not.
it. Like, I saw that. I'm like, why is this not a bigger deal? They didn't kill any military. They killed 8 people.
It's because all their Israeli informants are on hold, man.
Jesus. So we'll keep it going here. So this one, Israel, that didn't come in right. Anyway, U.S. and Israel discuss a U.S.-led administration for Gaza. So basically what this means is after Israel removes the population, they want the U.S. to come in and play peacekeeper. And they specifically tout the administrative work we did in Iraq post-2003. I'm like, wait a minute.
That worked out well.
That didn't work.
Yeah, that worked out well.
That's the model we're going for, the Iraq model?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh boy is right.
Oh, God.
India and Pakistan, they're still fucking going at it.
I thought there was peace now, didn't we?
They have ceasefire, right?
Ceasefire that shit
So
like 2 days ago.
They went back and forth a couple things, both sides claiming victory, saying, no, we won, no, we won. And then
How Trump-esque.
And for some reason, Donald Trump came in and said, yeah, basically, I brokered a peace deal. And then both Pakistan and India were like,
no, you didn't.
No,
Oh, that
we
wasn't
didn't.
real? I saw that tweet and I was like, nice, dude. Apparently not.
Getting it all done. But yeah, they said, no, you didn't. But then apparently that Pakistan may have broken the ceasefire as of last night. So who knows what's going on there? Just two fucking nuclear powers that fucking hate each other.
Sweet.
Going toe to toe. I don't want to talk about that. Then right here. So the U.S. and Chinese officials, this is before it happened, but to meet for trade talks. But they just met and apparently they've decided to back off of tariffs.
China.
Remember when I said that we're going to fucking go right back to where we were? I think we were at 40%.
75?
You know where we're at now?
80.
30.
Oh, shit. Okay.
No,
That's bad for us, right? I'm so confused on all the
it's
tariffs.
better.
That was
it's,
good.
it's better for us that we're paying less.
Yeah.
But and this is only a temporary thing, but it's essentially like we're going through.
I was watching somebody that was trying to explain the tariffs, and they were like, you know, it's like buying shoes, right? So the shoes take $25 to make. People charge $120 for them. You put tariffs on them and raise them up to $150, but then you put them on sale and make them $70, and everybody wants to buy them.
Yeah.
It's still a discount from the $120, but everybody still makes money.
They've been having
I'll
some
smoke
pretty
mirrors.
massive.
well, now you can't put them on sale. You can't even sell it because now that same shoe is going to cost you $175. Like
Right.
no one's buying it.
Right.
Period.
There's been some pretty massive protests over there in China where like they don't protest. You know what I mean?
But you're not allowed to.
And so actually, Jason, if you're still listening, dude, he's the one that texted me this. He was showing me some stuff. And at first it was hard to find on Google. Like if you went in and tried to find coverage of it, it was hard to find. You had to go to 2 or 3 pages. Now it's a little bit more accessible. But Jason's point was, he said, do you think like this was the game all along? Like we're going to jack the fuck out of their tariffs so that their employees who make the things are going to
Start
not
boycotting.
be paid. Right, because the people are protesting because the warehouses or whatever production facilities, they're not paying their workers.
I saw that and I
thought it was an interesting take.
Oh, like we're
You
like,
want to talk about 11?
we're making them implode from within.
You want to talk about 12D chess right there, dog.
But
You know what I
think-
mean?
Think about this. This just kicked in last month, and you're meaning to tell me that these mega billion-dollar Chinese factories all of a sudden can't pay their workers within a matter of weeks?
Yeah.
Like a few weeks. Like I didn't buy that. I saw that same story, and like I didn't look into it much more. I'm like, this can't be real. That they're all of a sudden, haven't been paying workers for X amount of weeks or whatever, and to where they're protesting when this only went into effect a few weeks ago, and the prices haven't even fucking hit. They're just going to be hitting now,
Yeah.
like just now. Like
You would think they
say
wouldn't
in
feel the
last
effect
week.
for like a month or two.
Exactly. Like I
after it
saw that
starts,
story. I'm
yeah.
like, that to me seems like bullshit. Especially I don't want to say I know for a fact, but I've read enough in China. Like that shit doesn't fly.
Yeah.
Like getting
That's
out
why
there.
I thought it was interesting. It's like I thought they weren't allowed to protest.
The
over
last
there.
time they had like big protests was during COVID. And that's literally because you thought our lockdowns were bad. They locked them in their house. You will not fucking leave your house.
China.
And eventually, they finally started saying no. China's deal with their people is like, hey, we're going to make you rich. You're going to have a ton of freedoms. You're going to be able to do a lot of things you want. They have a lot more internet freedom than you'd think. But their whole deal is like, you just have no say in the government. Like, we're going to give you everything you want. You're going to have capitalism light. Like, you just can't have any say in the government. Other than that, like, we got the city on lockdown. Like, the surveillance they have in that city is fucking crazy. I wish I could remember this so I could tell people. But they have things down to behavior patterns. Like,
oh yeah, social
like-
credit score and everything. over there, dude.
Adam stopped smoking. You know who stopped smoking? People that have just started to practice Islam. So we're going to keep an
Yeah.
eye on Adam and make sure he doesn't turn into a Uyghur Islamist
Somebody
extremist.
want to tell us?
Well, I was gonna say, sounds like we should all start smoking.
There were people like, I can't remember the name of the village, but it's where they're having a big problem with the Uyghurs. They would have protests. This is on the outskirts of China, and they locked that fucking city
Those
down
are
hard.
the Uyghur Muslims are the ones that got in slave camps over there.
Yes.
Are we allowed to say that?
Uyghur?
Yeah, with a W.
Okay.
Soft W.
Soft W.
Oh, I was like, whoa.
No, I think that's I think they're
Whoa.
allowed.
All right.
So they would say people would get together and they would have a bottle of wine on the table. Like they don't drink it, but hey, the video cameras are capturing everything. So we have a bottle of wine on the table.
So we're not Muslims.
So we're not Muslims.
No.
So like shit like that, but they've got
That's
their behavior
wild.
patterns locked down. Adam stopped smoking 6 weeks ago. Like, ooh, we got to keep an eye on Adam because we don't want to turn into a Muslim. Shit like that. So
Damn.
like spontaneous protests like that, it doesn't happen there.
Right.
Not saying it can't, obviously.
So what's all the videos then of all these fucking
I
people
don't know.
in the streets?
It could
'Cause
be-
I saw it. I mean,
I
very
saw it
well
too.
could be at this point, right?
I saw the same thing. And it also could be a video from during COVID.
Sure.
Like where they're like, hey,
Yeah,
we're not getting
nothing's
paid.
real
We have
anymore.
nothing.
Propagandized.
It could be.
Yeah.
It totally could be.
Fucking China.
Kind of like
dude.
I'll believe it when I see it. It would have to get a little bigger than just literally one random video that I saw. Have you
Yeah.
seen more?
I was just looking. See if I can pull my feed in here. So I was just looking. I mean, I'm seeing some really not that many articles. There's a New York Post article. There's a Radio Free Asia article.
The New York Post is what I saw.
That's pretty much it. And then if you go to like news, the news tab, there's the CNN coverage from January.
I
But
wish
that has nothing to do with
I
it.
wish there was a
There's, like, no
Chinese
coverage.
news thing that you could trust because like for Middle East stuff like that you're never going to see in American papers, you could go to Haaretz for Israel, like you can go to Al Jazeera and see stuff that you're never going to see here. There's just not that version of China.
No.
Like
Yeah.
because it's fucking locked down. Crazy stuff. But
China.
this will be the last thing I talk about here, and I don't really understand what the fuck is going on with Greenland. I mean, I do understand, but like, I just don't understand.
Okay.
So, intelligence agencies to step up spying on Greenland. The effort underscores seriousness of Trump's intent to acquire the island.
Doesn't that
We don't
kinda-
want Greenland. We want Iceland.
Doesn't that kind of my bad?
No,
this one.
the minerals, babe.
Doesn't that kind of defeat the point if they're announcing that we're stepping up spy?
Yeah.
No, like, what are you gonna fucking?
Hey, we're gonna come spy on you.
What are you gonna do about
Yeah.
it, Greenland?
Hey, by the way, we're gonna come spy on you guys a little bit more. Just
Basically,
so you
we're
know.
spying on the anti-American sentiment. Like, hey, why don't you want us to buy you? What?
Oh, you don't like red, white, and blue?
Maybe that's part of the like preemptive. Like we're gonna tell you that we're coming, so then you'll want to negotiate before we go any further.
I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it for anybody that hasn't heard. So one of the reasons we are going after Greenland is it's just a very strategic place. Because if you look at the Earth from a globe, I mean, the flat earthers excluded.
I was gonna say globe. Globe.
Not talking to you, Adam. This side of the room is exempt. But if you look at Greenland, like it's right there by Russia, right?
Yeah.
And for most of history, that Arctic ice cap, it was fucking melted over. There weren't a lot of fucking shipping lanes through there. Now that it's melting, there are shipping lanes. We're able to get back and forth
You think
between
that's
Russia.
gonna piss Putin off, or you think we have a deal with
Yes.
him with the minerals?
No, because they have an interest in it too. And the fucking wild card, obviously, maybe not such a wild card as fucking China.
Yeah.
They have a ton of mining
Fucking
operations in
China,
there.
dude.
They're trying to secure the shipping routes through that Arctic Circle. Like they have a big fucking vested interest in this, too.
Tariffs. You have to
We're
pay.
gonna make them pay.
So there is a very strategic reason for acquiring Greenland.
Sure.
But I think the better thing would be like we do with everything else. Like,
Just take it.
not take it. Like empire building's over. We don't do it anymore. But what we do have everywhere across the world is client states.
Wars. Oh,
That too. We'll get there, Steve.
sorry.
We'll
God,
get
I
there.
keep jumping the gun. All right.
So yeah, that's enough of that. That's the end of the rundown. I couldn't dive too deep in anything, obviously, because we are already an hour plus.
Yeah.
But a lot going on in the Middle East. Stay tuned.
Yep. I got a quick video for you, and then I'm gonna hit Fireside.
Fucking send it, bro.
One of the things that you had mentioned is could Bruce Wayne take who without his belt? Who we're talking about?
Anybody without his gear, bro.
No,
we're talking-
Jason Bourne.
Jason
Jason
Bourne.
Bourne.
Okay.
What do you mean fucking anybody? Like, first of all, the
Oh,
suit
boy.
doesn't give him martial arts powers.
Okay, yeah, but like,
But it's bulletproof and it
Think
protects against
about-
stabs.
Dude.
Yeah, but just like he's talking about in a fight, like all Jason Bourne can do is fight.
And all he
Batman
needs
can
is a
also
ballpoint
fight,
pen, bro.
but Batman can also fight.
Yeah.
right, but like, how many times you watch Batman and he's like, he gets beat the fuck up by somebody?
Because he's fighting like 7 dudes.
But all of a sudden, he's got this gadget. But if he didn't have that gadget, he'd be dead so many times.
you need a
dude.
gadget too if you're fighting a whole gang of thugs.
I'm not saying I'm Batman.
But fucking Jason Bourne couldn't take him either.
Jason Bourne.
we're-
The best
probably-
part about
Jason
Batman is
Bourne
he's a
probably
man.
improvise a
Oh,
fucking
here we
weapon. Jason Bourne kill you with a blade of grass if he needed to, bro. He's that
Jesus
level
Christ,
of fucking
it's
plug.
Jason Bourne.
I love those fucking memes.
So we were watching the UFC last night, and there was I'm gonna fuck up all the weights. But there was the dudes fighting 145 pounds, Jose Aldo and
So
whoever
tight.
else.
I can't believe he's still fighting, by the
I
way.
can't either. He's like 41 or some
Yeah.
shit. Anyway, the females that fought after were 120 or 125 pounds. I think it's bantamweight or whatever. And one of the guys we were working with goes, "Hey man, you think you could take one of those chicks?" And so
That's the same
the
conversation we had.
conversation started. What do you think the odds are? And everyone's
Yeah,
like,
of course.
"Ah." And so of course there's one guy who's an MMA guy, and he's like, "Dude, nope, they're skilled. They get you in a choke. They get him like, okay, I get that.
You got to get me there
I
first.
lock
wonder,
it-
I wonder what our boy Justin would
if you
say.
lock in a choke." I know what Justin would say. Shout out Justin Smith. If they get you in a choke and lock it in, like, yeah, they could. You got a couple seconds, but are you strong enough to break that on some of those chicks? You know what I mean? Like, you could pull the arm down. I don't know, but I was looking at it, and I'm maybe it's an arrogance. I don't know, but I look at that and I'm like, yeah, she might hit you, it might hurt you, whatever. But I'm wrecking fucking shocked.
I will.
dude.
I will speak from personal experience.
Once you get over the fact that it's a female and she pisses you off enough, like if it's game on, it's fucking over, dude.
So back when I did jujitsu before my body just gave out on me, you would roll with girls who had a higher skill level than you, and they were obviously smaller than you because they're girls. And me not knowing anything, when I
Gi or
first-
no gi?
both, either, and you start rolling with them, and like, mind you, like in the beginning, you're like, you have no skill, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
And these girls, like, they have skill, but at the same time, like, to your point with the strength, like, no, you don't want to. No,
Yeah.
like it,
Just stop.
and almost like you feel yourself being gentle with them, and it's very easy
That's what I'm saying. I
to
think
like, no,
I think for most guys, it would be difficult
Aw.
to get over the fact that it was a woman. Like once you could somehow switch that off, dude, fucking game
We
over.
have these discussions. I think Ronda Rousey was the one I was talking
And
to.
didn't she get her ass kicked by a dude?
I don't know. I remember there's a captain we were talking
First of all,
about
Ronda
this,
Rousey's a bigger gal,
Yeah.
she's a big girl.
Husky.
and we're not even talking
big
just
girl.
wrestling. I mean,
Healthy.
like, there's different things.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the logic was, dude, if we were in the ring, maybe not, but like on the street, this captain goes on the streets, I'd fuck that bitch up, dude. No questions asked.
Came across this video. This chick's a black belt, and we were having this conversation, and I was just like, I don't know, man. How do we?
Power, baby. Axe kick board break to start off this
Fuck yeah.
Power, baby.
tournament routine. Up next is
Yeah, break it with your.
Isabella.
She gonna scream it?
Board break. Yes.
Just fucking headbutts the shit out of that board.
Dude, I'd beat this girl up. Come on.
You think so, Adam?
yeah, no
Ah,
fucking
she's kind of
problem.
husky.
That's no problem.
Hi.
Knee strike.
Yay.
Probably run out of breath screaming at
Hey.
me first.
I don't know if I could beat her up, but
Dude,
I,
if you had a
I-
wooden chair, though, she'd have snapped that fucker in half.
I want to
Watch,
beat
watch this. This is my favorite. Watch the board the dude's holding. Tap. Give you a little tap. Oh, it cracked.
Yeah, wait, hold on. What was that?
Oh, yeah. They're
Hold
like
on.
all pre-cut, dude.
Oh.
Showdown.
Well, you're breaking perforated boards. This would have been better if she slammed him with her tits.
Her yelling.
Good hit.
That double setup right there, dude. That would have been better.
This is my favorite, dude.
Is she gonna spin?
She breaks this dude's finger.
Slap going for a side kick.
Watch this. Now she going for the side kick.
Here goes.
Yes.
Measuring the
Worry about your finger,
distance.
Tom.
Fuck.
Get mad. Get mad.
There's only so much I
So
can listen to her
she's-
screaming.
I know. So that was basically I just wanted you to.
Power.
I just want to know. You think you could take her?
Fuck yeah.
One final.
She's about to break bricks, Adam.
No, she's not.
Here goes 3
They're
contacts.
perforated.
You think so?
She's about to break her elbow.
Those boards already pre-broke.
Good hits.
Dude, there was
That's
no
like-
power on that strike.
That's
She
like-
pushed them in
That's
half.
like classic Van Damme, dude.
Also gay.
Not Van Damme. That's like, to me, that's like, have you seen those like
She was getting ready for the Kumite right there.
those masters?
The what it say?
Kumite.
Oh.
Not the
Kumite.
Kumite. Have you seen those like martial arts experts that like 10 dudes will rush at them? They're just
Oh yeah, the guy who just moves him with the flow of
Have you
his
seen-
chi.
Did we watch it on the show where the guy's putting on the class about if someone comes at you with the gun, he's like, first, I'm going to drop below the level of the bullets. And then, as he's firing, I'm going to be catching the shells. And then I'm putting
that
them in his
Master
hand.
Ken?
Catch your shells, hot lead.
Master
Catch your
Ken,
shells, hot
yeah,
lead.
Master
American.
Ken.
He's
Hot lead
awesome,
his
dude.
pants,
Master
hot lead
Ken's
his pants.
legit.
That is fucking
There's a good
hilarious.
one with him and a knife too. He's like, when they thrust a knife at you,
Block with your hand.
No, he's like, it goes right through your hand. At that point, you have leverage. That dude's funny as shit.
All right, so last thing I got's the last segment. So, and we'll wrap this up quick. I have a couple of them. I thought they were all pretty good, but we're going to start with this one. So, this is, I'm sure you've seen this.
Oh, you sent me this yesterday. I was laughing.
Grab his
Why
twist.
is this not,
Let's see.
What-
It's not
what's the problem?
there.
The old tick twist?
Uh,
What's wrong?
Where's a video?
Oh.
So as everybody has seen it, it's the guy at the MMA deal, and he's like, grab his dick and twist it. And the guy behind him, and the guy, he's like, oh my God, what'd he say? And he's like,
There you
grab.
go.
There you go.
Grab his dick and twist it. Oh my God, dude, it's an MMA fight, dude. Too much. Twist that dick. Twist his dick.
Grab his dick
So-
and twist it.
Hey, this is a shout out to the Black Smoke Sticker Company. These guys make some funny shit. They got great stickers. So they made this, and it's grab his tick and twist it. So
I like it.
I saw that and I was like, that's pretty awesome. The old tick twist.
Grab his dick and
Black
twist
Smoke
it.
Sticker Company. If you guys want some funny stickers, they got them on there. I think that's Fireman Group that does stuff. And then the last thing I came across was on just as far as you get to my right video. So this is Chief David Rhodes. This is can't remember the name of it. This isn't fire engineering.
Looks like a slimmer Wolford Brimley.
Yeah, but he speaks at a lot of these conferences, and I came across this post and I thought this was pretty good. And this might be tailboard leadership.
It says
You know,
fire
there's
engineering
really been
training.
little focus on the mental health effects of poor leadership.
Y'all motherfuckers
We
wearing
tend
me
to
out.
want to talk a lot about PTSD because we can blame that on an incident that's beyond our control. But we don't want to talk about the root cause of the majority of stress that causes us issues. Organizational vindictiveness, discrimination, favoritism, and exclusion.
Do you work for PFT?
So, you can go back.
I did see that.
So I had that one for later. But anyway, I saw that and I thought that was interesting. You know, a lot of people talk about PTSD in the service, different jobs, but it's crazy to think like how much of that could be and would be attributed to poor leadership across the board, not just, you know, admin first, you know,
I
second
said,
floor.
y'all motherfuckers wearing me out.
But man, I thought about that and I was like, I think about everybody who's on the unhappy pile and think about, you know, if there was some poor leadership or if there was better.
Now that you're a captain, can you not say sad pile?
I can say sad pile. I was just
Okay.
trying to be sensitive, trying to be inclusive. But how much of that, you know, would better leadership have in any situation that those guys were in? How much of that would have reduced any bit of
I
that?
can tell you if you hate your boss or hate the people you work with, the guy that you work for, like it makes it harder to come to work.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that little sad incident you might have had, like it's
Easier
gonna
to take
make-
advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want you to take advantage, but it definitely
Less resilient.
yeah, anytime I've had a difficult call, difficult shift, whatever, like it's easier to come back because like I know the next shift, like we're gonna laugh a little bit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not like fuck that sucked and the next shift is gonna suck and the shift after that's gonna suck because I gotta deal with that motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's every fucking
I just thought it was an
job
interesting
ever.
approach because you don't typically hear anything related to PTSD. Like you don't typically hear that aspect of it's. What about poor leadership?
Yeah.
Like what about the effects of poor leadership that can attribute to that or and you know exacerbate that?
I think that's every job known to man.
For sure.
You could apply that. Yeah.
but we don't
absolutely.
talk about that. Like that's not something that we talk
Fuck
about.
those nerds in every other job.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
I got a lot
too,
more,
man.
but that's it for today. We went long enough.
Dude, I literally
Telepathy Tapes, check them out.
I probably have
Fucking amazing.
40 things.
I do too.
Like it's fucking stupid. Got to draw the line somewhere.
Steve, this is it for you, huh? Anything to say?
No,
Brief farewell.
no. I'm gonna
be
take a
back.
little hiatus. I am going down to the training academy as a temporary summer recruit training officer. I
Gonna
will
get
be-
his hands on all those
Yeah.
young aspiring firemen.
I'm gonna touch them all.
Well,
I mean,
within reason.
professionally.
Well, right. You're not
With a
you're not
gloved hand.
amateur. Yeah.
Right.
Non-latex.
Anyway, yeah. No, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go down and learn. Going to the academy and teaching has always been something I wanted to do at some point in my career. Full disclaimer, I battled with it because I am a newer maid captain. And so part of me wanted to have a little more street cred, a little more experience on the captain side of things. But, you know,
Those guys down there are brand new. They don't know.
well, and we've been on for almost 18 years. So I think that alone speaks for something. And I want to do it while I'm healthy enough, and which is at this point is questionable, young enough to be able to go down there and actually participate.
Those
So,
guys have no idea that you don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, they'll find out quick.
Let them find out on their own.
Yeah. No, so that's it for me. Adam's going to fill in for me for a couple weeks. We might
many
do
we-
some.
15
Bye-bye.
weeks?
I think it's 14.
So long.
Yeah, 14. But they're
Damn, John Donner's so excited, dude.
but they do have.
Could be you and me, bro.
They do get holidays and stuff. They do get holidays and stuff
Great.
off, so there might be occasional Mondays or Tuesdays,
Yeah,
and then
dude.
we can always do some remote stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
We will do some remote stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, brothers. Steve,
and sisters.
That's it.
I think we have 3.
Did you guys make me a
And
drag ass cake?
downstairs.
No.
Oh,
You know what happens when we're out of cake?
damn it.
That's right.
Well, let me turn the cameras off first.
All right, everybody.
Later.
Like, subscribe.
I'm out.
Fireside, fuck yeah, get some.